in you a Prime Minister described by a former Conservative leader, no less, as someone driving down the motorway with 2 flat tyres. Why should people believe you when you say you can deliver, when 40% of your MPs don't think you can?
Right, Chris, there I was really hoping that you would talk about all the things that we're doing to take the country forward, but never mind. I venerate the organisation from which you come, I think the answer is very simple. If you want a proof point of what we're going to deliver, look at what we've already delivered. Look at the way we got the country through the worst pandemic, I think, for 100 years. The speed and efficiency of the vaccine rollout, and look at the fact that we've emerged from it when people were saying that we would have unemployment in the region of 12 to 14%, with the lowest rate of unemployment since 1974. Youth unemployment at or near record lows. What I'm saying to you today, and I'm speaking very frankly to the country, is I believe we now have a problem that follows on directly from COVID. I think it's less severe than the challenge of that pandemic, but it's important to level with people about the price pressures that we face, and to explain what the government is doing. And I think that the measures that we're setting out in tackling the cost of living, not just by using taxpayers' money, but by reforming services, by reforming the way government operates, cutting costs of government, but also making sure that we change everything from our energy markets to our mass transportation systems, and as I said at quite some length just now, an opportunity to help people with their single biggest cost, which is housing. And that is, if you look at family budgets, that's where the money goes, and people find ownership something really, really very difficult to attain. And that's and I think that's wrong. I think that what you have in this package today is some very creative ideas, not just to build more homes in the right places, and that's crucial. You've got to build more. You've got to build more, but you've also got to give people the chance to live in them, to own them, whatever tenure. And by the way, you ask about delivery. Never forget, and if anybody asks about social housing, I built more social housing than the Labour mayor, past the previous one and the current one. So we get on and build, but what we want to do is give people the chance of ownership. And I think it's a massive, massive thing to do. It's a massive, massive thing to do, and it's right for people, and it's right for families. And I think it's right for the economy as well. Dan Hewitt of ITV.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Dan Hewitt, ITV News. On housing, isn't the really big problem here in this country is we simply don't have enough affordable homes? You made no mention in your speech of the 121,000 children currently living in temporary accommodation, or the 1 million plus families on social housing waiting lists. Far from building more homes for them, doesn't this policy of right to buy seriously risk selling off what few affordable homes we have left in this country? And you said you want to build more social homes. Will you commit to providing a number of social homes you want to see built year on year?
Yeah. So I'm going to totally reject your... we build huge numbers of affordable homes right now. And we can be proud of. When I was, as I said just now to Chris, when I built more than 100,000 affordable homes in London in my time as mayor. Far more, I think, from memory, than Ken Livingstone did, and certainly I built them at a far greater rate than the current mayor did. We build affordable homes. As far as I can remember, we built more affordable homes in 1 year of the incoming Conservative government after 2010 or coalition government than the Labour Party did in 13 years in office. So we understand the vital importance of council homes and affordable homes. Actually, the interesting thing about this country is that we do have, by comparison with many other European countries, a lot of social housing. 1 in 5 homes in this country is social housing, and that's far more than France, Germany, or most other countries. And what we want to do is make sure that we give people the chance not just to live in an affordable home, but eventually, when they want to, when they feel that their situation enables them to buy it. And that's a fantastic, mobilizing, motivating thing that drives people's thoughts and passions and engages them deeply. And it's a very, very important change to make if you can. But of course, we will continue to insist, as I said in the speech, that there's a one-to-one replacement, so that when the sales are made, that you use the receipts to build more. And of course, it costs less to build than to buy. And so that's the way we'll do it. Well, we want to see at least a replacement, and we want to build hundreds of thousands more homes every year. And I think I'm right in saying that in the year before COVID, the number of homes built in this country under this government was about 245,000, which is almost a 30-year high. We are. You look as though you don't believe it. Well, as I said to you, we are building consistently more affordable homes than Labour ever did. And when you look at the council house numbers, we left them absolutely standing. Of course, we want more affordable homes, but the way to do that is to have more home building, full stop. And you won't get, and I know very well that you won't get, any development has got to have a mixture of market sale and affordable. And the problem that we've had is that successive Labour governments have imposed such ridiculous quotas on developments that nothing has gone ahead. And so you haven't actually seen development at all. You've seen no private sector building or affordable either. And what we want to do is get the market going in places where it works, on brownfield sites that are made viable by the infrastructure investments that we're putting in, that I barely began to describe. And that is the way. That's how we always outbuild the Labour Party when it comes to delivering social homes as well as private homes. And that is what we're going to continue to do. GB News, Darren McCaffrey.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Just on the supply of homes, you're right, I think it was about 245,000 in 2019, but you're committed to 300,000 homes by the middle of this decade. In fact, 300,000 is what expert says is standing still. No Conservative government has done it over the last 12 years. Can you give a cast-iron guarantee that by the middle of this decade, you would at least reach that manifesto commitment? And doesn't that frankly mean changing planning laws, dealing with NIMBYism? And just second of all...
With NIMBYism?
Yeah, indeed. And just second of all, on fuel, because today, I think a new record's been broken that it's going to cost the average family 100 quid to top up their cars. Now, you've cut taxes in this country, fuel duty, by 5p. I've done some research on the train on the way up here, Prime Minister. In Ireland, it's 17p. This is in recent months. Spain, 17p. France, 13 pence. The Netherlands, 14p cuts. Germany, 25 pence. I could go on. 5p isn't enough, is it, Prime Minister? We're the second highest fuel duty tax country in Europe. You're going to have to go further than 5 pence, aren't you?
So, Darren, first of all, on our ambition for home building, I think it was back in, you have to go right back to 1968 to find a time when we were building more than 400,000 homes a year in this country. So, we've never built enough fast enough because of all the reasons that you rightly describe. But everybody understands that we are sensitive to development that isn't in the right place, and that's perfectly reasonable. We love our natural world. We want to make sure that you have development that is appropriate. But that's why I think the reforms that Michael Gove is putting through today, the second reading of the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill, are right, and they will give local people much more control over where to site things, to allow appropriate developments to go ahead in places where they will be welcomed and where they will help young people growing up in those communities. And that, I think that is what people want around this country. I think it will allow development to go ahead in ways that we haven't seen before. I can't give you a cast iron guarantee that we're going to get to a number in a particular year, but what I can point you to is the record of delivery under Conservative governments and the way that we do it. And you know, clearly, you've got to make sure that you're not building everywhere on precious greenbelt land, that you're taking care of the natural world. But you don't have to. The trick to pull off to build more homes is, as I was saying I think maybe it's to Chris, you've got to put in the infrastructure. You've got to make sure that not only the schools and hospitals, but the roads, the mass transit system, the transport systems, to enable those developments to be viable. The problem is, if you take a development like Barking Riverside, which I happen to know quite well, or all the stuff up in the Thames Gateway area. Well, okay, we're a long way out from Blackpool when we discuss this, but I remember these developments intimately because I tried to do. It's when you don't have the transport that they're not viable for the developers, and when they're not viable for the developers, you can't get the affordable either. But if you put in Crossrail, for instance, will enable us to do things that were simply not possible. And Crossrail will enable developments to go ahead in parts of our capital that were not economically viable. And that's one of the reasons. So you'll be able to give people access to the housing that they need. And that is what this government is doing. That's why we've got a huge programme of infrastructure, £650 billion worth of investment overall in infrastructure, skills and technology. Look at what we're doing. That is designed partly to enable the private sector to come in and build homes where people want them, where they won't be on the green belt, and where they can do the job for a generation to come. On fuel, I hear you. We made a cut already. What I want to see, the biggest cut ever in fuel duty. What I want to see is those cuts in taxation not just swallowed up in one gulp without touching the gullet of the fuel companies. I want to see those cuts having an impact on the pumps, and we are watching very closely to see what happens. As I said, I think many companies don't want to just take profit. They do have a sense of responsibility, but we need to see it. When it comes to fiscal measures, Darren, as you can readily imagine, this is the province of my right honourable friend, the Chancellor. I'm not going to anticipate what he may or may not do, but I can tell you that we are going to continue to do everything in our power to look after the British people throughout this pandemic and throughout the aftershocks of the pandemic, just as we did during COVID. And I've said that many times. I think people know that to be right. Geraldine Scott of The Times.
Thank you, Prime Minister. You've spoken a lot today about low deposits, but arguably the more difficult factor for a lot of people that want to get on the ladder is that multiplier. You said yourself it's up to 9 times now. So what can you do to tackle that? Because even if you scrape the deposit together, that's a massive barrier. And are you looking at mortgage insurance like they have in Canada to secure those low deposits? And then just a second one on tax. You've got your big speech with the Chancellor coming up in the next couple of weeks. We understand at the Times you're looking to cut income tax to 2 pence in 2024 rather than 1. 2 pence. By 2 pence.
You're driving a hard bargain on behalf of... I know Times read...
By 2 pence rather than 1 pence in 2024. Is that something you're looking at?
Okay, well, look, so, Geraldine, first of all, thank you. On the mortgage market, what we want, yes, people should, we've got to help people to get deposits, but we also need to have mortgages that, we need to have many more 95% mortgages, so mortgages that cover 95% of costs of the property. It is punitively difficult for so many people now in this country. It doesn't need to be that way. That's one of the reasons we're reforming it. There are products already there, but they sort of come and they go. We want to make sure there's a ready stream of such products for the people who need them, as well as all the other initiatives that I mentioned just now. On what Rishi and I are talking about on fiscal measures, I'm sorry to say that you are just going to have to contain your impatience there. I mean, I think reducing income tax to 2p is nobody, not even on the backbenches of the Tory party, nobody has yet proposed that to me. But I know, and I think everybody in this country knows, that because of COVID, we had a massive fiscal shock, and it was because of the strength of our economy that we were able to look after people, and we still are. We just want to make sure that as we come out of it, we keep things strong, take sensible steps. But of course, we, as I think I said at least a couple of times, we're strongly inclined to stimulate further growth, further productivity with tax cuts as and when they become sensible. Mason Boycott Owen of The Telegraph.
Thank you, Prime Minister. You say that you want to get the tax burden down for working people, and you say that you want to cut taxes when that's responsible. Is it not responsible now to do that, to help with cost of living and to help drive growth? Thanks.
Well, that's why we, for instance, are cutting taxes, cutting national insurance contributions already. 70% of the people who pay NICs are getting a tax cut next month, worth an average of £330. As I said earlier on, we're cutting council tax for most people by £150. We cut fuel duty by the biggest amount ever. But yes, of course, we're going to continue to look at ways in which we can sensibly reduce the burden and help households in any way that we can. Cost of housing is a big chunk of expenditure. Transport's a big chunk. Childcare is a big chunk. Energy is an ever-growing chunk. But tax is the biggest of all. And we certainly aim to get that down. Jess Elgott of The Guardian.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Two questions, if I may. The OECD predicts us having the lowest growth in the G20 apart from Russia. I think we can diagnose Russia's problem. But what you talked a lot in the beginning of your speech about the international issues that are causing slow economic growth. But why is what is Britain particularly doing wrong to have the lowest, to have that such low growth? And a quick second one, if I may, just to follow up on the petrol question. You say that you're watching retailers very closely, and say, but what if they continue to not pass on the cuts? What will the government do?
Well, that's okay. So first of all, on the current the trends in growth numbers, don't forget, because we came out first, because of the steps that we took, we're slightly out of sync with much of the rest of the OECD. We had a faster recovery because we had a fast vaccine rollout. We came out of it fast. We're particularly exposed now to energy price shock. That's because I'm afraid the UK is just not self-reliant enough. We made a big dash for gas, if you remember. The price of gas has gone up. We totally failed to invest in nuclear. That left us without the self-reliance that we need on energy prices. As I say, we're trying to this government is now urgently trying to rectify that. We're stampeding towards more offshore wind, more nuclear. The trouble is that they will come on, offshore wind in particular can come on stream quickly, but it requires, it will take some time. But if you look at the nuclear, will certainly take some time. But I think that there will be an abatement, as I say, of those costs within the foreseeable future. You can see the prospect of inflation coming down again. And I just remind you that when you look at the IMF forecasts or other forecasts, they actually have the UK returning at or near the top of the G7 Growth League, in the not too distant future. Jess, so be of good cheer about that. But the purpose of my speech today is just to say to everybody, look, yes, price pressures are going to make things tough for a while, but we will get through it. Here are the steps that we're taking to get through it. And at the other side, we will have a much, much stronger economy. And on your second question, which was, I think, about fuel prices.
Watching the
watching the pumps. We are watching it. And of course, we hope that corporations will be responsible and will recognise that now is the time not just to take price, but to look after consumers, and that's in their long-term interests as well. And as I think I said to possibly Darren, I'm not going to anticipate what the fiscal decisions the Chancellor may take, but we will continue to look after people in any way that we can. Thank you all very much for your time this morning. I much, much appreciate it. This afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.